Vincent Margera, better known as Don Vito and also known as Bam Margera's crazy uncle, became a hugely popular and unlikely celebrity of the early 2000s. He was given the nickname of Don Vito by his nephew Bam Margera because of his signature unintelligible speaking habits, especially when he was worked up and excited or angry. The nickname was given to him as a reference to Vito Corleone from The Godfather, who was a famous character of the movie known for being difficult to understand. Prior to his sudden and unlikely fame on the hit MTV show Viva La Bam, Vincent Margera was just another overweight alcoholic that no one ever heard of. He had suffered from obesity most of his life and a vision disorder called strabismus, which left him partially blind in one eye. He was also broke, unmarried, and lived in a home formerly owned by his older brother Phil Margera, who was better known as Bam Margera's father. His life changed forever when Bam Margera decided to bring him on as a prominent cast member of his popular MTV show Viva La Bam. He was also put to work in the CKY video series and Jackass, but had remained in obscurity until his appearances on MTV. Viva La Bam aired on MTV from 2003 to 2006 and catapulted Don Vito into becoming one of the most famous and recognizable stars of the show. He quickly became a fan favorite thanks to his belligerent and clumsy demeanor, and also a highly entertaining and hilarious victim of Bam Margera's many brutal pranks. Don Vito contributed greatly to the show's success, and perhaps the most hilarious part of the show, which was when they added subtitles to his broken English.
You guys when are y'all gonna end up dying?
Vincent was a longtime alcoholic prior to his role on the show, so his character came quite naturally since he was really just expected to get drunk and be belligerent on camera. The fun didn't stop when the cameras did, though. Don Vito lived like a rock star thanks to his newfound MTV fame, and partied non-stop for many years, hooking up with random girls and openly acknowledging that he had the best job ever. Don Vito really lived his character even off camera. It's hard to find any recordings or videos of him not being belligerent and drunk. Off camera, he was also well known to be a bit of a drunken pervert, which would later prove to be his downfall. He toured the country with fellow Jackass star Ryan Dunn, performing live shows as documented in the 2006 special known as Dunn and Vito's Rock Tour.
$500 cash, Vito. Yeah.
Don Vito also happened to be Bam Margera's personal accountant. He handled Bam's taxes and once railed against Bam for his ridiculous spending habits on an episode of Radio Bam.
When I went there and it was $348, but with taxes, $375.
And that's what said she's gonna save you $40 grand, then you do it while she's away.
Yeah, but that's the color I wanted.
Bam. She could have got that color. No, you gotta slow the hell down. I was able to punch her right in the face.
Rewind a minute back where you couldn't tell what Vito was talking about. He does my taxes.
Vincent Margera went from being a broke, overweight, middle-aged alcoholic plagued with health and money problems to becoming an overnight celebrity of the MTV world, putting him directly into a life of non-stop partying and fame that he could have only dreamed of just a few years before. Unfortunately, he clearly wasn't prepared to handle it all. Don Vito's world came crumbling down in 2006 when he was arrested for getting extremely intoxicated and inappropriately touching two young girls during an appearance at a local shopping mall in Lakewood, Colorado. As a result of the arrest, all stunts involving Don Vito were immediately removed from the theatrical and DVD releases of Jackass No. 2. Despite the allegations, he was featured in Redman's music video for the song Put It Down, where he played a police officer alongside Donnell Rawlings. He was subsequently found guilty of both incidents for sexual assault on a minor on October 31, 2007. His life was ruined seemingly overnight, ironically falling to pieces just as quickly as he had risen to fame. One witness at the trial claimed that Don Vito had been so drunk at the time of the incident that he had urinated in his own pants. The same drunk and belligerent persona that made him so famous ended up being his undoing. He collapsed to the courthouse floor and shouted, "Kill me now," after the guilty verdict was announced. His life was over and he knew it. After the conviction, he was sentenced to 10 years of probation to be served in Pennsylvania and banned from portraying the Don Vito character during that time. Vito fell into a deep depression after his conviction and would never recover from the fallout. His reputation was ruined forever. He disappeared from the public eye for the remainder of his life, and he would now simply be known as a convicted child molester. Fans were shocked in 2015 when new photos of Don Vito began surfacing on the internet, which showed that he had lost massive amounts of weight and was clearly suffering from serious health issues. In October of 2015, Don Vito collapsed in his Westchester, Pennsylvania home and was rushed to the hospital where he remained in a coma for 5 days. Despite some initial improvements, his family reported that he was dying from massive organ failure due to years of obesity and alcoholism. Tragically, Don Vito died on November 15, 2015 at the age of 59 years old. The rise and fall of Don Vito is another stereotypical textbook example of how fame and fortune can very easily ruin someone's life. However, he will live on forever in a way as one of the craziest and most memorable characters of the Jackass franchise.
You gotta come up with better material.